Yes.
we've been through a lot. We just seen a lot, but you know.
Do you
what?
mind if I put this on a podcast?
You can't
Holly and
speak to
Renee?
these young people because
You know,
they
it's
think
okay?
they know it all when they're in their relationships and stuff. You know, we've seen a lot. I've been married 3 times.
You mind if I put this
I'm
on a
there,
podcast?
girl.
Huh?
It's okay if I put this on a podcast?
I don't care.
Okay. It's okay?
Whatever. Don't nobody know me here.
Yeah, just say okay.
Okay.
Okay. She said okay.
How's she gonna know his heart?
I don't know.
So when we sometimes give advice or we say things, it's only
Do you think it's
because
worth
we-
getting married?
But listen, I got somebody who want to marry me right now. Do I want to get married again?
Do you?
No. I'm trying to say, boo, we don't got to walk down the aisle. I mean, I'm 63 years old. I do not need to have your last. So the conversation was, I need to have the last name.
Oh.
That I must take the last name.
Well, you must change your name every time you get
I have never
married.
given up my father's name. I've been married 3 times and I've always kept Jacob.
But you're required to when you get married to give
I'm
up your
not
name.
required to do anything.
If you choose to marry a man, you should be required to change your last name.
Maybe she hasn't found the one.
She thought she found it once she married it. 3
But
times.
clearly she didn't trust something that she didn't want to give the last.
I've always
Do you
been
think it's
hyphen.
tr-
I
do
always
you think
been
it's tr-
Jacobs, whoever. Jacobs.
Do you think it's trust that gives you not to change your name?
No, has nothing to do
Is
with
it just
that.
the love and respect you have for your father?
Correct.
Okay.
My father was a single dad. He raised 5 kids.
He's
on
earned
his
that
own.
name.
That name will always be with me.
But also the man that you marry should respect that, right? Like if you don't want to give up your last.
I hyphen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you're saying the man that you marry should just accept that you don't want to change your last name, what's the point of marrying you for?
I
I
hyphen.
changed mine, and I had a business for 20 years, and I changed my
That's
name.
what I'm saying. I said I got too much going on right now in my
very
name
hard
for
when
me
you're
to
a business person
Yeah, to change
and to
things,
change your name.
things. I ain't changing my name. My house and my name is my name. It's my
It's
house.
so big of a deal. Like,
I don't think it's that big of a deal to get married, so he should just date you the rest
I
of your
don't
life.
think it's
That's
a big
fair.
deal
it's
nowadays.
like what you're doing with your girl.
Yeah.
Are you married?
No, he's gonna
No.
date her for the rest of his life.
Yeah, well,
No
I mean,
date.
she's having your baby. When you gonna man the fuck up and marry her?
And what are you going to tell your daughter?
Yeah, and
Are
she
you
goes.
setting an example
and
for
she-
your daughter?
and she goes
Correct.
to
That
school.
she shouldn't get married and expect a man to marry.
Correct.
Her if
she
she
can
gets
just-
if
I
some
don't
dude
think-
gets her
Baby
pregnant.
daddy.
I don't think she should get married if she doesn't want to.
So are you just gonna be a baby daddy?
Sure, if that's the title,
Wait,
but
is the question,
I've
are
earned my
you saying,
stripes.
Is the baby having your last name?
Sure,
course.
of course it is. And guess
course.
what? When that girl goes to school
You know what
and
my-
drops off,
my-
and the mother's last name is Johnson, and the baby's last name is Henry, and they know that she's just a baby mama.
Yo,
Put a ring on it.
Blackmail
It is
You know what
disrespectful.
happened recently?
Okay.
My boyfriend's ex-best friend, his wife was giving labor, and she said, if we're not married, I'm not putting your last name on the birth certificate.
That's
on
right.
the way to the hospital, they signed the marriage certificate.
But that's because her box was never worth
She
it.
just-
That
that's
was
not what-
crazy.
You
I was
think that
like,
marriage is gonna last?
Yeah.
like
No,
that?
I-
How long did he date her for?
huh? They were together for 5 years.
Exactly.
No, that's insane. I was
My
like,
point is,
I,
when you
know she said
force
that she was
somebody
going
or
to do that, but I
trick
didn't
somebody
believe
into
Yeah.
anything,
She
Yeah, you can't do that.
They can't do
But
that.
he
No.
screwed himself over. I would have stood on business and said, okay, that's fine. Because at the end of the
This
day,
table
you're
got
gonna
little
have
scratches all through.
you're gonna have a problem with her regardless if you sign that contract or not. And now it's harder to even get out of that contract.
Yep.
And you signed it knowing she was gonna give you hell.
But, like,
So
what
why
if
you think
they're
she's not gonna give you hell to get out of it? He got divorced to her by now.
Guarantee you
they're
they
together.
And if not, he's just in the corner miserable.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
He's miserable looking at his kid like, dang, man, you kind of low key made me sign this. But that's crazy. I wouldn't even date somebody that would do that. Eventually, if, like I told, my agreement was different. I said, hey, after 2 kids or close to the second kid, once we have the second one, sure.
Why? Why? You have-
Because for me, mine is, the relationship's really good. And me personally, I've never seen a married person actually enjoy that relationship. And it makes sense through and through. Through and through.
I agree.
Again,
To an extent,
I don't
I
know.
agree with that.
None of you are married. And you have been. It's not like it made it work better. I actually have a genuine good relationship. And it doesn't,
Well-
if it's not going to
Can I-
quote unquote
can I
make
say
it
something?
better,
With marriage,
go ahead. You cool with me putting you on the podcast?
I don't care.
Okay.
So with marriage,
You good, Tab?
You start expecting things of
I
one
don't even know
another.
what we said. No,
They
I
probably
can't
don't have that. But now you're my husband. I expect you to do this and this and this and this, and vice versa. I expect you to do this.
Mike's
this.
okay.
The expectations are there when you get that ring on your finger. They are
Correct.
in every marriage.
And it changes the relationship.
Yes.
It does change it.
I've never seen one not change. So that's why it doesn't make sense to me.
You've been married, I don't know how many times. I've been
Yeah.
married, divorced.
Exactly. You all have been
I'm
married
just saying
multiple
it
times, not
happens.
bad or good, but I'm just saying it never has made it
If
better.
someone is treating you good, married or not married, if it's a healthy relationship and we're communicating and they're treating you proper, right? Yeah, you don't have to get married.
That's my situation.
Sometimes after you get married, everything changes. They get the ring, the sex stops happening, the good conversations stop happening, the respect stops happening,
Correct.
and they go outside of.
Y'all gotta listen to this, man.
They got to
She
go
clarifying.
outside of the marriage.
You
know, so
stop
when you're
dating
dating-
your wife.
Well,
Correct.
that's the
That's
problem.
what I'm saying.
You start treating her like a wife instead
See?
of dating her.
Exactly.
Listen to me, that happens
Listen,
to
man, this
too.
podcast is good. Y'all listen
No,
to.
no. Well, yeah. If you've been in
Like
a,
she said, they stopped the same.
they stop.
You know
they
what I'm
stop.
saying?
But let me tell you, Mike,
Give it up to the milkman.
when you've been married as often as I have, and you have grown children, sometimes they do things differently. So my kids are not like me. They're very loyal.
They grew up and saw it.
They grew up and saw. So my kids are like, Mom, you tell somebody go fuck off in a minute. You ain't got no problem leaving anyone. And my kids are like, work it out. Let's talk it over. Let's go to therapy, whatever. They have young kids, but they've been in long-term relationships, 20 years for both of my sons. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not like me at all. They're not like,
That happens a lot.
you don't give anyone a chance, Mom. And I says, no, I don't. You know why? Because I was abandoned by my mother. So I'm very used to being abandoned, but I'm going to leave you before you leave me. So I will cut it off quickly.
But
So everybody has issues that they carry on, and sometimes we don't realize that we bring that into a relationship.
Yes.
My question would be: do you think that every guy that did marry you, did he know about that situation that you went through?
Sure, absolutely, because I'm an open book. I don't
Correct,
really hide
which I
anything.
figured.
Yeah, I'm
Do you
very,
think that would be okay if he would have registered that as a red flag and not married you?
he should have registered as
He
a
should
red
have.
flag.
Correct.
Yeah,
So
he
you
should
even
have.
yourself
Ding, ding, ding.
omit that he should have registered that as a red
If
flag.
I'm honest to you and I tell you what I need in my relationship and you don't give me what I need in that relationship and you know I'm a leaver.
That's what I'm saying. For me as a guy, from my experience, I would have registered that and said, hey, we're gonna have a great relationship. If it does fall, I'm not gonna have a contract with you that we have to now void.
I walked away from
And
from
as you
wealth.
saw, a
I walked
contract,
away
yeah.
from, because money didn't solve it.
But you, regardless of when you signed that contract, you knew you had an option to void it, and you knew if it started to get to a point where you met your limit, you were going to void that contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. So for me, in my perspective, on
Some
like
people
the
have a
question I
higher
asked,
tolerance level in marriages and relationships.
but I kind of approach it the way your sons do, just without the marriage, because that's how I live for myself. Let's talk it out. Let's communicate.
Mm-hmm.
For me, and since it works so well, it's like for me, if this is already a well-oiled machine, I gave it a ring and everything. If this is already the well-oiled machine it should be, in my experience,
In these
whether
days,
it's a good
marriage
relationship
is
or
not-
bad,
marriage is not important as it was back in the day. Marriage is not important. I think if the kids have a healthy home environment, regardless, right, it makes a difference when they start going to school. And I can only speak from my situation. When my grandkids say, "Mommy, why is your name different than Daddy's?" Right? So that kids ask those kind of questions. So those are the things that you might.
Those are the hard ones.
Those are the hard
which
ones.
for me, I would tell them,
But
your
there's
mom's,
a lot of people out here that
Kids
don't
are cruel to them.
that don't
Yeah.
get married. They're in a healthy relationship. They're good parents, and they say, you know what? For us, maybe your situation. For us, it's healthier if we don't make that contract right now. But once you're 100% sure about that individual, hopefully you'll make an honest woman out of her.
So it's again, honest or not honest, even though you already knew that your things that you lived on were red flags, you already knew with those red flags, even if he quote unquote made you an honest woman, you weren't going to make him an honest man and hold that contract valid. So it was
No, that's not true.
it defeated the
That's not
purpose
true.
of even signing the contract.
That's not true. That's not true. If you treat me the way you need to be treating me the way when we
So
were
you're saying
dating,
he changed every time? Every
Of
time
course
in
he
those
changed.
every time in your marriages they changed.
things changed.
So why get the contract?
Things changed.
Why would you get the contract?
Because you hope that things don't change.
Nah,
you
see
get
the-
married hoping things don't change.
Hey,
Right?
you're right.
You know, after being divorced for such a long period of time, because I didn't get married again until my kids were teenagers. I stayed single throughout the whole time, and then when they were teenagers, I got remarried again. So you kind of think at a certain age that people are going to be a little bit
Better.
more mature
Yeah,
and better.
but it's not.
No, it's not.
This validates why I would not get married, but I appreciate your genuine take at it, because I don't think, again, it just validates it. There's no marriage I've ever seen where that thing actually made sense. Even the religious ones,
I know
they were
people
they
have
were
been
behind
married for
closed door,
30
were still
years.
doing messed up stuff.
Yes, of course. But I know people who've been married for 30 years and 35 years.
And one of them was with the
Lawrence?
milkman or the milkwoman. It still was something that was happening on the side. It was never as genuine as they placed it to be. I feel like, which I've learned. And again, I told my wife she can have my last name. You know, it's nothing. I've worked in the phone industry for over 6 years. I've gotten a lot of people married, and I've gotten a lot of people divorced when it comes to the phone accounts. You know, we just got married, got their account married. You know, we're getting off our parents' accounts, we're joining our accounts. They got married, and then I come and see them all within the 6 years or within 2 years. They're getting divorced, and I had to divorce them. And then for me, I'm really cool with my clients, so I pry, and they're cool. They pry back, you know. And we have a conversation. It's very consensual, and then they're like, "Hey, this is what happened." I'm like, "She was like that, man. She seemed cool when y'all was in here. Or he was like that. Y'all
Nobody
seemed
wants
cool."
to be alone, so you know what?
Yeah.
I don't think I have to I don't feel as though I have to get married yet to be in a committed relationship. I would be in a committed relationship
would?
without, Eddie. No, Crystal.
Who's that? Okay, she's getting up. I've just learned that more people choose to opt into marriage for security and maybe a fear of being by themselves and so forth. But I don't have neither one of those as a fault, thankfully.
I don't want to be alone, but
I'm not going to go down
I don't
into
wanna
my
get
own
married again either.
demise. Yeah, so you don't want to get married again and you don't want to be single. Just get a partner. Have a relationship and go on and enjoy that
but
relationship.
you know when you're with a partner who feels like marriage is the only way.
There's some people that do, and it's up to each his own. But I really believe it's how you treat that person at the end of the day.
Tell them that. I've been married 3 times, they ain't never worked out.
You've been married 3 times, yeah. Never worked out. And just have a relationship. Let's be in a relationship.
Work on it together and see what happens.
And if I needed to, I'd go downtown and change.
That fantasy. It's a fantasy for people who have never been married.
Yeah.
They want to be married, have the white gown, have the big wedding. You have that already. You had that. Been there, done that. It's not like, you know, we're not having kids together. You know what I'm saying?
Even if you are, though, I think if a kid is so upset, which again, I've never as a kid, and I'm one of 7, I've never gone up to my parents and asked for their marriage license. I know other than, hey, mom, she could change her last name to my name, which she wants to. I told her she could. We share money, we share everything. There's nothing hidden. She's on my phone account. We bought a house together. There's nothing that's, and I've worked with customers that are pushing on marriage or they have their marriage. And I've been in the phone industry. I transfer phones for a living. I've transferred stuff for a living with married couples all the time, and I'm transferring the stuff they don't want that person to see. And they go, hey, here's an extra 20, 30, here's an extra 50, take care of that, transfer that file. And I go, okay, because that's my job to transfer stuff. So that's
Where are you transferring it to?
the new phone, you know? So I'm selling phones.
So
Say you come in with your husband, and you got your phone, you say, hey,
he's
Elijah.
not going to see anyway what you're transferring. Cause
You can, I'm doing it right here.
But you're plugging it in and you're just...
There's no plug. You can say if you had a new phone right here, while your phone was over there, I could put that phone at the front desk, and I could transfer. I don't need your phone.
But the spouse doesn't get to see what's being transferred.
They would, because
How?
their phones are sitting on the counter. You say if you go, you're looking at your accessories or something.
Okay, so
her
if
phone's clean.
if
Her
you-
phone's transferred.
If you're transferring contacts,
What if you deleted all this stuff, but you didn't permanently delete it because you didn't know? That's all gonna come up.
so if you're transferring my voice, my text messaging
Mm-hmm.
right now, say for example, text messaging is up while you're transferring it.
Yeah,
Oh, I just
and it'll load in.
yeah, but
And
I
they go,
didn't- I
oh,
didn't-
what's this
I didn't think-
2020 text message? Because it could come up first. Oh, okay. Who's this guy? Bob. Oh. And then, or you could go, I transfer your photos. So say your photos transfer over. I don't need to see it. That's nothing but your phone's locked in front of me. But your husband goes, let me check and make sure the wife's phone's finished transferring. Hey, honey, your phone's finished transferring. He goes and looks. What's this hidden file? He clicks on it. That could happen. Or a lot of people don't know, there's multiple apps out there. Calendar apps, calculator apps. It looks like a calculator. It's not. That thing's a hidden file. So you don't know. To me, I have apps on my screen that's fully open, nor do I have a lock on it. But there's a lot of couples that have a lock on it. He's like, I don't know how to code, and vice versa. That happens all the time. And again, I have husband and wife I sell to every 2 years. I sell them a new phone. They are on different accounts. They don't share nothing. Oh, wow. She don't, and they're open because it's the phone industry. They're like, she don't have no access to my stuff. I don't have no access to her stuff. We good. And I know what I'm transferring because they want me to know so then they can have me transfer it. So I'm telling you from experience, and I've talked to thousands of married people at that point due to that job and other experience exposure. But that stuff, being married is fugazi. It's not real. It's not really what people think. I've talked to people, the husband makes his money, he's the breadwinner, he's taking care of his wife's account, his account. They've been married for 6 years, 10 years, whatever. And he coming into me, first time meeting me, second time meeting me maybe. And he's like, hey Elijah, like, can you transfer me the text messages on her phone? I don't know what's going on. They don't know you from a lick of nothing.
Is it legal for you to do that?
No, and nor do I have access to it. So I couldn't do it.
Oh.
But they'll ask you because they don't know. And I say, hey, you got to call customer service and see if they can pull it up. We don't have access to that. Oh. So it's nothing I ever did. But they'll ask you because they don't know. But meanwhile, this man bought her a car. He's telling you, man, she has a car note I pay for. I take care of her insurance. My girl don't pay nothing. The money she gets from when she works, she takes care of and use that on everything. And the whole time, this man taking care of everything. She doing the most dirt on this man. Wow. And I've had husband and wife come in. They got a newborn. Baby's less than a year old. And they both jointly said it at the same time. We would not be married if we didn't have this baby right now. And the baby's sitting right here. And they married for maybe a year or two. And they's like, we got married because of this baby, and they like, we both would be divorced right now. We would not stay in this marriage, but we have a baby. Meanwhile, I'm like, all right, let's transfer your phones. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm supposed to say here? Because it's not my job. I'm not a counselor. The job turned into a counselor sometimes, but that's not your job. So I've seen it that raw. So for me, it's just, and again, I think it does work for some people. I've also seen the good. Yeah. It does work for some people. Sure. But those people, in my opinion, they are so genuine and they are so kind of, in a polite way, airheaded. They don't catch the things that normal people could catch, so it works for them because they're so like say if the wife comes in something skimpy, the guy doesn't even notice that because he's such a good square for himself. He don't know that his wife's showing too much, so it goes over their head. So it's never going to be an argument. In order to
maybe he just doesn't care anymore. He's out doing what he's doing, and he really don't care.
He cares. I mean, from conversations, I'm talking about from conversations.
Care, right? If you're with someone for a period of time and they start dressing differently, and you notice
That's the biggest thing. If a man is starting to do things, you'll notice changes.
Yeah, you notice changes.
You'll notice that he's dressed a little different. He's always got gum in the car. He's
taking a shower before he comes to bed.
There's little things that you start looking.
I shower before I go to bed. Does that make me a bad person?
No. But if you didn't for months before that, all of a sudden now
you bought new underwear that said, Calvin Klein.
Yeah, the change in the behaviors that they're used to.
That's a sign.
That's a red sign.
Yeah, it's a
big
sign.
time. Yeah, that's when you start going.
Something's up here. Coming home late.
Up.
Never used to work late. Now all of a sudden they coming home late, working late.
They're just working for y'all. Working for extra money for y'all.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
So a guy would notice that too, in his wife saying, "Oh, wait a minute, she's dressing differently. Oh, she bought a new fragrance.
She's going to the gym.
Her lingerie is much prettier, much lighter.
I'll tell you-
Lots, and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, she's
I'll tell
buying
you.
a lot,
I'll
and
tell
I'm
you a
not
scenario.
seeing
I'll
it.
tell you a scenario I went through with a guy, and now this is what I mean by clueless. Husband and wife. I used to work with the guy, so I see him all the time. And he comes to work, and he's like, "Man, I said, why are you driving this minivan? Don't you have a sedan?" He's like, "Oh yeah, my wife's driving my sedan. She needed it for something else, car or whatever." And so they switched cars for about a week or two, and she started going to the gym. But he doesn't register what is happening. This is what I mean by the airheadedness. So, and it's still a good thing to a degree, but it's also still a bad thing sometimes. So he does not register in any of these things as signs. So goes off. He goes one day. He says, "Man, my car smells." I said, "Hey, what is it like?
What does it smell like?
And he says a couple of things that I'm thinking that it could smell like. I said, "Oh, well, who's driving your car again?" He said, "My wife. When she come back from the gym, it smells like that." I said, "Well, somebody's getting down in your car."
Somebody getting the workout.
He said, "No, my wife go to the gym." I said, "Man, somebody's getting down in your car. I know what the heck you just said, and I just told you what it smelled like before you told me. Somebody in your car." He like, "You sure, man? Like, she's cool. She go to the gym. She's back in an hour or two. She even brings a change of clothes. He don't register what I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? So this man doesn't know. Whole time, if I didn't say nothing, and if we didn't, as a people that was talking to him in the job house, tell him what was up, he would never have went to his wife and asked. He just would have kept getting it cleaned because he kept getting it clean. Like he ain't know. Then 3-6 months later, that's what happened. He finds out,
Wow.
and he's like, "Dang." So then he's still unregistering what he should do, which is break apart.
Right.
He doesn't notice, so he still tries to say, "Hey," she convinces him to open it up.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? This is how unregistered people are doing. So then she convinces him. He says, "Okay." Not knowing she already had a client ready for business.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? No woman says that it don't have a client ready to go.
Right.
He go, "It's been less than a week. You already got a client?" "Oh yeah, going out, proof sprouts in my hair, get right." He watching his kids while she goes and take care of business.
Wow.
She gets so disrespectful.
Wow.
This man's in the home with his children,
That's feisty.
playing with his children, playing in the living room with the kids. She walks in with the man, walks to their bedroom, closes the door, and takes care of business while he's in the house. This is the unregistered stuff I'm seeing.
No, that's just stupid. He's
That's
just stupid.
Yeah.
He's just
He
stupid.
don't want to believe it.
Yes,
That's
He's
what
in
it is.
denial.
He don't want to believe
it's
it.
tough.
Come on now. Come on. You're not going to allow something like that.
The
Denial.
guys do it.
Denial?
He don't want to believe it.
That's stupid now.
Guys
Come
do
on.
it.
Guys do that?
They don't want to believe, because most men don't even know how to get a girl. So now that they got lucky and got one and got her to say yes to a marriage, where do you think he has to go? He has no experience.
He has no confidence.
He has no confidence. He's not going to lose this. What do we need to do?
Well, how disrespectful to your children.
Exactly. She's not thinking about that, because guess what? A woman will void that contract anyway. He's married to her. So much so that the kids that he's with, that he's taking care of, aren't even his kids. He adopted them.
I was waiting for that.
Yes.
I was like,
so he's so devout that he ended up adopting these children.
He got to be butt ugly.
Yeah, no.
No.
He got to be
Something
butt
gotta be
ugly.
wrong.
That's all I can say.
Something got to be wrong with this brother. He got to be. Is he
Kinky,
blind?
weird,
Blind?
No comment. I don't want
Blind,
to like that.
retarded?
I'm just saying this stuff happens to people. All I'm saying is, and this is why I tell you, like, it happens to people. They end up getting departed and divorced, and he still takes care of the kids and still has a child support on kids that wasn't even his. Wasn't even his. You know what I'm saying?
He'll be blessed.
That's respectful for him. Don't get me wrong. And since then, he is remarried. I don't know his situation. I think he rushed it probably, but since he's remarried and stuff, but it's crazy that what people will go through.
I can't even imagine
Yeah.
anybody that I was married to that would even go for that. No way.
Happens
No,
all
I
the
would
time.
never even want to do that.
Happens all the
That's
time.
just disgusting.
And in the reverse, if he showed up at my house with
Chop, 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 chop.
Y'all wouldn't allow that?
she wouldn't.
He
make it
have
out
a
the
body
car.
part. He have a body part missing.
A
He
body
and
part
her.
missing.
Her for disrespecting me as a woman, I'd beat the living. And
You would
him-
have squabbled with her in the house?
Oh, she wouldn't have made it to.
She wouldn't have made it to your room.
No, she would have made it in my house. No. Ain't playing that.
Dang. As soon as he would have came through the halfway through that door with that.
She'd have
Crystal.
knocked him out. The fight would have been on.
Boy, this is. They walked in already, but it's a guy. I don't know. Maybe he went to the counter. I don't know. Just a FYI.
Yeah, that won't work.
That wouldn't
Holly,
work for you.
You're up, Holly. This is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Give me strength to get through this.
Crazy? Crazy is a man stupid enough to think he would bring a woman to my house.
No, but if it was y'all's house,
It doesn't matter.
what if he told you in advance before he came over?
He isn't that stupid. He wouldn't close an eye laying next to me.
Wouldn't close an eye laying next to you. What if he did it in the spare room?
You know what? He's just such an instigator.
He's just an
He just
instigator.
wants to get you going. It's not going to
Sure.
happen. It's not going to happen.
That's just
He's like, it might
unrealistic.
happen to some women might be okay
Some
with that
women might be okay
because
with
they
it.
don't have any confidence in their self and they have.
So you think it's a confidence thing?
For a woman to allow a man to do that, she feels that she's not worthy of anything better.
And the guy feels the same when it happens to him, you think?
Could be. She don't feel she.
But you wouldn't condone any of that.
So she's just happy to have a man, just
Correct.
somebody to say hello to. That he's not, some women
Why do you
women
think,
stay in an abusive
why do you think some women
relationship.
stay with cheating men?
Because they'd rather just have something than nothing.
It's better to have something than nothing.
In some women's cases, that's how they feel. I've never been that way. I'd rather be alone.
You rather be alone than
I'd rather be alone. Who's me? I'd rather be alone and struggle than to deal with anybody's bullshit. And that's why I've been married 3 times. I have a real low tolerance level for crap.
we signing out.